You spent 12 years in school, thousands of hours, sitting in a chair doing what you were told, studying what they put in front of you. And in all that time, no other class on how to build something. No one Not one lesson on how money actually works. Not one teacher who sat you down and said, here's how the real world works and here's how you survive it. But they did teach you to raise your hand before you even speak. They taught you to wait for the bell before you leave. They taught they taught you that someone else decides when you've done enough. That wasn't an accident. Let's talk about what they told you versus what they build. Here's how the story goes. Work hard in school. Get good grades. Go to university. Get a job. And you'll be fine. That was the promise. And millions of people believed that. Their parents believed it. The teachers believed it. So they put their hands down. Did everything right. Followed every single rule without breaking them up. And ended up exactly where the system needed them. You might think, where did they end up? Well, they ended up at a desk, working for someone else, trading their time for a salary, grateful just to have stability. Yeah, that's grateful. You want to know what they actually built? Not a student and not a thinker, don't get me wrong. Not someone capable of creating anything on their own. They build the perfect employee. That's what they need. Someone who shows up on time, follows instructions without questioning them, doesn't cause any problems, doesn't ask for too much, does what they're told and goes back home. In my opinion, that's not education. That's conditioning. And don't think I'm lying to you. I got the proof. Let me show you what I mean. This isn't just a theory. It's visible if you actually look. Think about how school is structured. Or maybe go Google it. You don't choose what you learn. Someone else decides what's important and what's put in front of you. Repeat it on a test and move on. Your job isn't to question the curriculum. Your job is to perform inside it. Sounds familiar? Well, that's exactly how a job works. You don't choose the task. You don't set the strategy. You execute what you're handed and hope you're evaluated well. Then there's grading in schools. Every few weeks, someone above you reviews your performance and gives you a score, a number that tells you whether you're good enough. You have no say in how that number is decided. You just wait for it and let it determine how you feel about yourself. And performance reviews. Every year, same thing. The bells. You don't leave when you're done. You don't leave when you've learned enough or what you needed to learn. You leave when the bell goes off. You move when the system tells you to move. Shift changes. Clock in, clock out. That's exactly the job that you're gonna get if you don't do something about it. They even made you ask for permission to go to the bathroom. Crazy. Like, just think about it for a moment. You were a teenager and you had to raise your fucking hand and ask an adult if your body was allowed to function. And you did it because you were a kid. That's what the environment demanded. Now here's what school didn't teach you. Like how to file taxes. They just assume that you'll figure it out when you're gonna be 18 and panicking. Or maybe how to negotiate. Oh, they don't cover that. How to read a contract. Not even close. They just hand you a paper and say sign it. And if you're lucky, they let you read it. Or maybe how to start a business, manage cash flow, build a product, market yourself, or invest. None of it. Not even touched. But you know the cause of World War I? You know how to calculate the area of a triangle. You know the themes in a novel that was written 200 years ago. Don't get me wrong, I like reading, I support reading, and I absolutely recommend reading. But choose your own books. And ask yourself why. Why these things and not the others? Why spend 12 years preparing you for the adult life and leaving out everything that actually determines how your adult life goes? Because these things like taxes, contracts, businesses, investing, these are all the tools of people who work for themselves. And the system doesn't need more of these people. They need workers. This curriculum wasn't designed last year. Go Google it. I can tell you that it was built during the Industrial Revolution, because factories needed people who could follow a process, repeat a task, and show up reliably. Schools were designed to produce exactly that. That's not a conspiracy, that's history. You can go check it out. And almost nothing has changed ever since. And you might wonder what it did to you. Well, here's the part that actually matters. Because understanding the history is one thing, but seeing what it did to you personally is different. You learn to wait for feedback before deciding if you did well. You finished a test, handed it in, and then waited. For days sometimes. For someone to tell you whether you were good enough. You didn't trust your own judgment. You needed external validation, a grade or a number or a stamp of approval. You still do that, you just don't notice it. That's the bad part. You post something and wait to see if people respond before you decide if it was good. You start something and look for someone to tell you that you're on the right track before you even commit fully to it. You've been trained to outsource your self-assignment. You learn that success is defined by someone else. In school, you didn't decide what a good performance looked like. The teacher did. The curriculum did. The exam board did. Your job was to meet their standards, not to set your own. So now you don't have your own standards. You chase other people's definition of success because that's all you were even shown. Like, get that grade, get that degree, get a good job, get the salary that everyone wants. Take the boxes someone else drew. And the deepest one is that you learned that showing up and complaining gets rewarded. You didn't have to be brilliant. You didn't have to be creative or innovative. You just had to show up, do what was asked, and not cause problems. That got you a pass. That got you through. From my opinion, we call that a participation trophy. So that's what you defaulted to in life. Show up, don't rock the boat, wait to be noticed, wait to be promoted, wait for someone to see your value and reward it. It's always about waiting. But I'm going to tell you that it's not. And nobody's coming after you. As I told you, you gotta do it your own self. Nobody's gonna help you, and if they would, they wouldn't give you the exact path. And the most dangerous thing about all this is that most people never realize it happening. They go through school, university, and enter a workforce, and they think they're free. They think they made their own choices. But I'm gonna tell you that they didn't. They don't see that every impact driven those choices was installed without their consent. That's not weakness. You didn't choose this. But you're the one who has to undo it. Now let's flip it. I'm not going to tell you to go and burn your diploma. That's up to you. I'm not going to tell you that school is evil and everyone who works a job is a slave. No, that's not the point. The point is awareness. You can't fight conditioning you don't know you have. Every time you wait for permission, just notice it. Every time you need someone to value your work before you trust it, notice it. Every time you default to the safe path because division feels dangerous, notice it and do something about it. That impact was installed. It's not yours. And once you see it, you can start making actual decisions instead of just following programming. The people who build real things, like businesses, brands, incomes, they didn't need a boss. They're not smarter than you. They're not more talented. They just saw the game earlier. They stopped waiting to be told what to do and start deciding for themselves. Nobody gave them a path for that. That's the whole point of it. There's the fun. There's no class for this. There's no teacher. There is no easy way to do this. That system that was supposed to prepare you deliberately left this out. Which means, if you want it, you have to go find it yourself. You have to build the education they didn't give you. Well, that's exactly what I do. I built this community because I wanted to cover everything that school skipped. How money works, how to build something, how to think like someone who owns instead of someone who serves. That's what we're doing here. So subscribe if you want to see more. Because I'm not gonna stop any soon. So now, in the ending, I just want to remind you that they spent 12 years building the perfect employee, complaint dependent, ready to show up and do what they're told. The only question now is whether you're going to stay one.